Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another True You podcast with me, Paula Burns, creative visibility and confidence mentor. So, this is a place we have open discussions to understand who we are in order that we can live our lives to the fullest. And every week, I come on and bring on a special guest who is living their version of their true life. I say this all the time that it's really important to realize that there is no blueprint. There is no tick box, no standard generic framework where you go to and say, yeah, this is going to give me my true life. Everybody is different. And so that's why I love bringing on all of these different types of guests with all these amazing stories about their journey of how they came to this point of living their true life. So, as I said, I've got another fabulous guest today, and I'm going to get straight into it and introduce her. So, welcome, Sara Vezensek.
Thank you so much for having me. It's such an honor. And, we connected before and I love the energy and I cannot wait to provide so much value and inspiration to your listeners.
Oh, I am so looking forward to our conversation. I passed the first test by getting your name right, so that's good. But I want my listeners to just find out a little bit more about you. So, just a little sort of summary. Tell us what it is that you do.
Oh, I love this part.
Uh-huh.
So, what I do is I help you identify what your genius actually is when we're talking about knowledge. Because so many entrepreneurs and business owners created businesses for freedom. And
Mm,
guess where they're now? They're hustling and they're still working hard. So they're
yeah,
basically employees of their clients, especially people on high demand offers. And when it comes to scalability, people think, oh, I need to hire a team, I need to work on volume, where I strongly disagree. So, what I do is identify your genius, your knowledge, your lived experience that people will pay tons of money for,
yeah,
which means that it gives you leverage. And then we can create a scalable either business on the sides, restructure your business, however you want to do it. But that's the beauty because you actually get your life back.
yeah. I love that. Again, it's like coming back to that space where you think that there's a set way of doing things, that, you must like create this funnel and you must do this, like all these other people, that's how they're making lots of money, is that I've got to do all these things. But, it's coming back to the core of who you are, which is what you're talking about here and what I'm all about as well. So that's why I know that this conversation is going to be a really good one, because really coming back to that core, which is what you call that genius, is you then understand where to go from there. You've got to strip it all back. What so give us a little snippet then of how you work, and yeah, just how does that work?
Absolutely. Well, what I always do and always say, like, no client is like, we don't do cookie cutter, right?
No.
Because people's visions are different. And when I say freedom, freedom means something completely different to me than
Yeah,
to someone else,
yeah,
right? So what we do, step one, with every single business owner that comes to us is figure out what it is that is your big grand vision and what it is that freedom means to you.
yeah,
Those are like absolute priorities because guess what? Then we can reverse engineer the
yeah.
business that would actually give you that vision because you went about it the other way. You just were like, oh, let me work and get money, where money in theory should get you freedom. But there's three
Yeah,
different types of freedom, right? You have
yeah,
location freedom, you have time freedom, and you have financial freedom.
yeah,
So this is where I get to understand what it is that you're going after. And then we reverse engineer the path, both strategic and non-strategic, of how to get there.
yeah. Oh my gosh. What do you love the most about what you do?
Oh, you know what? The fact that I even started this business was so I can get people to live the type of life that I got to live.
Mm,
And the world that we live in is capitalism. Money gives you options, money gives you opportunities, money gives you safety, money
yeah,
can give you 99.9% of things when you know how to utilize it,
mm,
especially for women. My favorite part is bringing other women up and giving them the freedom and that basically power, because the more women that are wealthy, I truly believe the better the world will be, and the
Yeah,
more other women will pull up. And this is our time, the opportunity, like we never had what we have now. So that is my absolute joy seeing other, especially women, rise
yeah,
up with me and see them be super successful while keeping their time and freedom.
yeah, yeah. Um, our vision is so similar in respect of that. It's just seeing, I mean, for me, I know when I look at someone lighten up when they're having a session with me, when they can just even have just a small snippet of a session, because I do these very short bursts, which is just like they can get a taste if they want to. And just from that session, they will just leave, and I call it like they leave with a spring in their step. They're like actually skipping out the session because they're so happy that they've found these nuggets that we uncover, and it's not that it wasn't there all the time. It was always there. It's buried, just buried.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And you need someone, like I truly believe that every business owners, every leader, every entrepreneur, we're so close to what we do that
yeah,
you need someone to mirror it back to you. It's not that you can't articulate it.
yeah.
You could. It's just way harder because you are so in it.
It's
It's hard
yeah,
to pinpoint what it is for someone on the outside that they
yeah,
need to hear. So
yeah.
it's actually easier to do it for others because you're on the outside than do it for yourself. That's why we need someone to pull it out from what you are saying, what you're already articulating.
Yeah, that is what is known as working in your business rather than on your business. And
Absolutely.
so many women are doing that. So many business owners are doing that because, especially if you are like you started out, as a sole trader, you were working, it's just you're trying to do everything and you're right in the middle of it all and you've got to keep it all running and you're spinning all the plates and everything that you can't really see the big picture. Can't see all the different bits that make it up and the bits that's falling apart, that's not connected properly, all of those things.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's so true. Right, Sarah, I want to take you back to your childhood because I want to find out a little bit more about your journey and, what got you to this place now and, like how long have you been doing it and that sort of thing. But I always like to go back to childhood because I feel that there's like an invisible string that of who we are as individuals that takes us eventually to that space and that place where we are doing what we absolutely love. So, and that's sort of linked to, our personality, our upbringing, all of these things. So let's get into that discussion. What was your childhood like?
Oh, I really truly am so lucky. Like, I don't know if we chose a family or how we get here. I don't know, but truly so blessed with my family. I also got born in one of the most beautiful countries in the world, Slovenia, one of the safest, greenest countries in the world. Like, this is where they filmed Narnia to
Yeah.
picture how it looks like,
Oh,
right?
amazing.
But my childhood, the thing that stands out, besides me being lucky and having, just enough of everything that I would ever need, I was always like the black sheep of my family. In high school, I always was fighting with the teachers. I'll have straight A's, but fighting, going against the system, rebelling, especially when people tried to push me in the box.
Yeah.
And I was 13 when I was dreaming of my own company and leading a team. And, normal 13-year-olds like run around with boys or stress around like about, I don't know, whatever is happening at 13. And I had visions, vivid memories of me like driving to this business and doing things. And that kind of followed me throughout high school as well. And the one of the biggest, scariest decisions was where I'm going to go to college. Because where do you go to college if you are great at 15 things? And again, it felt like I'm being pushed in a box and I want to do so much more than, a doctor or lawyer or all these fancy professions that I had absolutely no desire going into. So I was always the odd one out, felt misunderstood, and didn't really have my people that I could like see or find. That was the beginning of it.
Hmm. Right. Okay. This is interesting. Okay. So what happened then is you were growing up and then you went into education. What sort of jobs did you do? Did you find yourself trying to fit yourself into a box? Because I feel like when I think back in my life, I always knew I was different, but I still tried to fit myself into a box.
Hmm.
How was it for you?
So I started very early. So at 13, my mom told me that I can't go on a trip because we can't afford it. So I was like, oh, 13-year-old. Oh, so if I have my own money, then I can go on a trip, right? So I got a job at 13 working in a wine bar behind the scenes, like rolling cutlery, squeezing oranges. Just, I'm a networker. So if you give me something, I know a person that will get me to a person, like I'll get it in. I'll get us in somehow. Long story short, started there and really quickly understood the value of money, right? 4 euros an hour meant 5 hours of squeezing oranges for a lunch. So all of a sudden, I was like, huh, okay, I'm gonna need way more money for
Yeah.
what I'm trying to do. Mind you, I'm 13 again. Like it was just an early lesson, which I'm so grateful for. So by the time I was 18, I went to college. I studied food science and nutrition. And I do not know who led me to that college, but bless the bigger forces because I did not have to be there at classes. The professors loved me. I could arrange everything. So I did all the exams and everything, again, straight A's, but I was never there because I didn't care about what the bloody hell they were teaching us. I just, it was like, I gotta tick this off so then I can go live my life. And what
Right.
I actually did was I applied to become a chef on a yacht with absolutely no experience, but it took my serving job and nutritionist training, which we didn't even get to that. We're calculating how fast does honey move in the tube, just some like
Yeah.
BS first year of college stuff. But I joined that in a CV that would maybe potentially get me accepted as a chef on a yacht. They, of course, said no, because who would say yes to that? But
But it
again,
could have worked. It could still have worked. You don't
it could.
know.
But there was some bigger forces at play, and it was a payable spot. Someone dropped out. They called me, and I actually was accepted to the academy. And then was actually one of the two people against like 35 professional chefs that passed because of my like eagerness, determination. I was like, if I'm here, I am passing. I don't care
Yeah.
what you guys are, and just going above and beyond, which then led me into yachting as a chef. Amazing connections. And then I had a crazy pivot again to being like, I'm out of the kitchen. I want to manage super yachts now. And that was a jump at 23, where I then became an owner's representative, which is normally a position for like a 60-year-old man. And I was just out there, early 20s, figuring it out, studying while leading the yacht. But it was just the time of my life, but a
Yeah.
very untraditional path while never using my bachelor's degree from college. And everybody just said yes to me because of my crazy stories. And I didn't
Yeah.
really give them, an option. I was like, I'm going to go do this. So you want to
Yeah.
either deal with me now or I don't know what we're going to do.
Yeah. Yeah. And they could see your enthusiasm as well. And I think you just, when you turn up, and this is one of the things I always say is, if you're going to show up in your space, given that all of that enthusiasm, people are going to be drawn to because you know what you want. You've got this like idea in your head of what you want. And whether it's the right thing or it's the wrong thing, you're so enthusiastic about it that it draws people to you. And I can see because when you were sharing that story, it's like they get excited with you because you're excited and the energy is there. And again, this is one of the things that I say is that you forget to be nervous when you tap into your passion because you're so passionate about it, you're so excited about it that you're not reciting it, you're not reciting a story, this is you. So yeah, that it sounds so exciting. I can feel myself actually being there in that situation when you're telling the story. So
Oh,
what happens next?
oh, that's a good one too. I love that we're like breaking it down so
Yeah.
it's digestible and like we see the levels.
Yeah.
So I'm 23. on a yacht, absolutely terrified, but so happy because, now I am managing a $30 million vessel. I'm in charge of a $5 million project. Like now we're talking numbers and things where if you screw it up, it's more than just burning a piece of chicken in a pan, right? Like it's a
Yeah.
way different level, a team of 30 plus people that I'm managing. Well, again, education in food science and nutrition. Like there's no logical path to get there.
Mm.
But I was earning like a yearly salary in Slovenia per month, which was like 10 to 15K, which to my mind at 23 was like, I am the richest person alive. Like that
Yeah,
is,
you
my
do at
parents
that
earned
age.
800
Yeah,
a month.
yeah.
Yeah, I was like, this is insane. Plus, I was getting commissions from every restaurant that I was booking. I was just a networker. So I was like, okay, if we're booking a charter, I'm getting a 70K commission. If we're doing this, so I was just in this world and I was like, wow, this is it. But I very quickly realized that like money is great, but I am living someone else's life. I
Mm.
am available 24/7. Yes,
Yeah,
I'm 23, thank God, right? That I went into it that early. So I didn't really want a partner. I didn't want, I was in adventure time,
yeah,
but attached to this phone, did not sleep throughout the night, had alarms set every 20 minutes if something went wrong, if I was on a different time zone, because, managing the whole world of connections. And one time I came home and I remember being so mad because my mom said, well, if you work 24/7, then your per hour is like 10 to $15, which isn't a crazy amount. And I was like, what do you know? Right. And then it hit me. I'm like, well, 10, 15K a month while you're working every day, all day, no weekends is not worth it.
not a lot of money. No.
It's not that much money, right? For a 23-year-old, yes, but for life purpose,
Yeah.
absolutely not. And that's where it hit me that something will have to shift. And I also saw my clients kind of starting to take advantage. They
Mm.
get comfortable, they
Yeah.
are more used to wealth. And I was like, you know what? If I can make life better for people who have all the money in the world and they can't do it with money. I'm doing it with who I am being. The money's not helping them. Then why can't I do that for myself and teach others how to use these skills that I've learned in 17 years of working, so
Yeah.
many careers and give back? Because
Yeah.
that was the most annoying part is seeing all this wealth being kept in and not give back and share and bring other people up.
Yeah.
And that was the promise in the beginning. So I was like, I gotta exit.
My goodness. And so you exited and is
Yeah.
that when you started your business or
It was a little more dramatic than that. I was, when you are
there's
working
always
with
a
this,
drama?
yeah, when you're working with the 0.01%, they think they own you, quite like, you know, point blank. And I knew that they're not going to be happy with me leaving, so I made them fire me by making myself less available in the span of like a year and a half leading up to it,
Right.
while
Yeah.
already building business in secret, getting the new skills, learning.
Yeah.
So when I knew that it was coming, so when they said it, I was like, amazing. I get a severance, one. And
Right.
two, now I already have a plan B that I'm just shifting.
Yeah.
Again, it's still scary. You're losing income, you're starting over, but I had a foundation. I didn't have to figure everything up
Yeah.
out. Like I could just transition and be on wobbly ground. So that's when I started my business in 2024. Yes.
That's not long ago then.
No, not at all. We are just it seems like a long time because so much has happened since then
Yeah.
because I just deep dived with my energy and who I'm being into it. But yeah, it's been a wild run for sure.
And is it like a consultancy for you? So is it you? So anybody, would they work directly with you or are they going to work with a team or?
Yes, so I am the main person running my business. I have two coaches that support my clients more on subconscious level, which is, that wouldn't be just considered business. It's more on that. We have a container where they come in every month. One is the EFT coach and one is has a PhD in neuroscience because
Mhm.
I truly believe as a leader, as a CEO in 2026, if you are not removing blocks on who you are being while leading a team, Like that is not the type of person that I want to work with or put out in the world. So otherwise, it's a consultation partnership, like step by step guidance, because I work in depth. I work on transformation. I work long term. I do not have 5,000 students that have access to me and, get no transformation. So I deep dive with every single entrepreneur into
Yeah.
their business and
And
lead
that's
them.
important, that sort of like deep dive. And I think that's your business model. So that's, and that's what people want. And if you're aiming for that type of client as well, it's just so important to make sure that you give them that depth of support
Absolutely.
that they need. Is there
Absolutely.
a time? So is there a time, and at the moment, with your lifestyle and everything, do you get to travel a lot? I think you mentioned that to me. Um,
Yes.
are you a bit of a nomad?
Yes, I love to travel. I did have to stay put a little bit while I was building, not necessarily because it would be hectic or I wouldn't be able to build it while I was traveling. It was more so Wi-Fi connection where I was trying to go to the Himalaya and stuff. I was like, you girl have to calm down. Like this is
Yeah,
me on the back of an elephant, on a client call. I was like, you
I
know what? Let's
know.
just pause it for 6 months and like get things in order. It's okay. But my priority was my freedom means that I'm location independent. So
Yes.
for me, I needed a business that, I can work 3 to 5 hours a day from anywhere in the world
Oh,
and I
yeah.
get at least 5 figures in recurring revenue. That was the base that I was like, and that is what I teach every single entrepreneur that comes in to do. And then we scale up level, do everything else. But like you get to be paid and have your freedom. Once
Mm,
we achieve that, we go to the next level.
yeah. Yeah. It's really interesting because, just to hear you speak, you'd think that you had so much more um, experience under your belt. Because you're a young person, and I know a lot of my listeners tend to be like maybe more midlife women, sort of 40s, 50s. You go through the motions of everything, and then you're trying to find your space, and it's been left for such a long time that it's like dormant. But you seem to have had this vision since you were a child, really, of
Yeah.
what you wanted. And I can imagine some people listening to this thinking, well, I didn't have that vision, or they might have been not in those types of circumstances, when they were growing up in their family, that it just wasn't a thing. You just did. I mean, if I think about my childhood, in my family, it was about okay, they wanted me to go to university, and I
Mhm.
pushed back because I didn't want to go to university. I just wanted to get a job and start making money. But I never had like a dream like you had at my age, at that age. I was just like, let's make some money, work my way up through the ranks, work for a corporate company, because that's all I knew at that point,
Absolutely.
that's all I knew. And so I feel like you have been so fortunate to realize that at such a young age, you know?
I would say yes and no because I actually, if we think about it, like at 13, I believed that I want to have a business. But then what I did for 17 years was work for someone else.
Yes,
So I
yeah,
just started early, which I think is the big difference. I definitely had a drive in me where
yeah,
my parents were sitting me down and telling me, like, none of my parents, none of my family, no one that I know is why I am who I am. I
yeah,
don't know what type of download or what switch they put in my brain when I came down here, but
yeah,
maybe this is legit my purpose to show
yeah,
people, how to do it. But I always wanted to make my own path and go completely against what
yeah,
everybody else was telling me. Because what you basically said, all I knew was old, bald men with Porsches and Ferraris that had money. And I was like, okay, but that's not what I want, right?
yeah.
Like, that is not the type of business that I want to have. And I didn't know a successful woman. They were
Mm.
all wives or, teachers or just like a normal job.
Just going
So
down the route of what was expected. So
absolutely. So I just followed the money first,
Yeah.
which was smart because I was like, well, if I have money, I can do anything.
Yeah.
And then it clicked that it's not just the money that I need and want.
Yeah.
So it was through experience.
Yeah.
But thank God I started at 13 because, someone starts at 30 and they're now 50. They had the
Yeah.
same amount of experience than me,
Exactly.
but I'm
Exactly.
30.
Yeah. Exactly. Sarah, was there a time when you felt like you lost your way?
Ooh, so many. And it gets me emotional because I thought I lost my way before I even found myself because I was like, why can't I figure out where I want to go? Why can't I understand what I want to do? Why does everybody know and not me? Right? So I was very lonely for almost 18, 19 years. I didn't really, I had a happy childhood, like normal, childhood drama.
Yeah.
But that deeper in me, I was like, well, what am I going to do? Right? There's none of the things excite me that are currently an opportunity. And I always followed my heart. But when you follow your heart and your bigger vision and you play in the quantum field of possibilities, you have to have this undeniable faith that
Yeah.
if you can see it, it is yours.
Yeah.
Now, back then, I didn't know that this is all legit, right? I was just blindly following. And I had so many nights of crying myself to sleep of asking like why are you doing this to yourself, but there was just this bigger force kept pushing me on the right path even it was hard.
Yeah.
And there's a specific moment where I trusted the wrong person in 2018 because again I saw a vision of me managing yachts and stuff,
Yeah.
and I trusted the wrong person. He stole all my money. I was the laughing stock of Slovenia, and I decided to go public with my story so I could help other women, and was just like, you know what, like my reputation right now doesn't matter because I know what had actually happened. And if I
Yeah.
can help one person through my story, so be it. And
Yeah.
that was a turning point and a massive growth moment where from there everything escalated. And 6 months later, I was actually managing a yacht and earning 15K a month at
Yeah.
23. So it's just looking back, all these paths make sense, but back
Yeah.
then I definitely felt lost and like, should I give up seeing all these people have
Mm,
things? But I knew that if I just keep going, I can have anything that I want.
yeah. Yeah, and I think that's why it's important to share the highs and the lows,
Yeah,
and that's why I asked that question about the times when you lost your way, because you did that thing that all of my guests do. When I ask that question, they say so many times. There's a few times they can talk about when they lose their way.
absolutely.
And I know that people are listening right now, and again, coming back to that thing where they think, you may think you might be listening to this podcast and you might think, it's been easy for some people to get where they are. But, the journeys are different, but there's always things that will get, if you're moving, you're always going to stumble. There's always going to be
Absolutely.
stumbling blocks. There's never a smooth road. Even if
Hmm.
you think about your journey, if you're normally driving along a path or a road or you're walking on a path, there's always going to be some rocky bits, some bits that are not smooth, and that's what makes the journey interesting in the end. At the end of the day, at the time we
Absolutely.
don't think so because we're thinking, "Oh, this is rough, this is hard, whatever." But imagine if you were going on a journey and it was just a smooth road, and it was just, how boring is that? You know, you've got nothing to talk about in terms of, what happened, what the journey was like, or anything. It's just, and you haven't learned anything. So again, it's what you learn as well when you're on the journey. So yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, the fact that you had to go through that difficult time, but you also thought about who you could help as well along the way.
And the lessons that you really learn. And I
Yeah,
actually just remembered something that you said in the beginning, is, a lot of people don't, from like when we're little, we get so conditioned to think what's going to make you money
yeah,
that you don't even allow yourself to think what it is that you actually want. Even now, most successful people, like I'm talking multi millionaires, and I'm like, what is your actual big dream vision? And they're like, oh, I don't think like that.
no,
They think
I
one
know.
step ahead. And I truly believe that that's why I'm quote unquote lucky, because I always just focus on the big
Big
goal and
vision. Yeah,
I just go there. I don't
yeah,
go to the side paths of like all the steps you need to take. That's why I just skip them. And
yeah.
it's wobbly and scary, but I can then just jump to that level and then just enjoy that for longer versus, fooling around and competing with everybody else.
Yeah, absolutely. The road less traveled is always the best, isn't
Yes.
it?
Yes.
If you find with all these other people, you just disappear. You just disappear in the crowds.
And then you just pop up all of a sudden, you're like,
Yeah,
here I am. And they're like, wait, hold up. Where did you go?
yeah, exactly, exactly. Um, how was it for the people around you? So it sounds like, because I asked this question about, whether it was scary for you taking these steps. I can tell from when you talk about how enthusiastic you were about everything. I feel like you just went for it and you didn't have any of these moments where you were, oh, I'm a bit nervous about, am I doing the right thing? Am I not doing the right thing? And it's not just us, because we have the voices in our heads that maybe might say that, but then you've got the people around you as well who are saying, are you sure? Are you doing
Mm.
the right thing? Should you not be doing this? Should you be doing that? So you've got all of these voices. How was that for you? Did you have like encouragement around you, or did you have like people who were maybe trying to steer you in a different direction?
I absolutely was not understood by anyone. People just looked at me like I was batshit crazy because, who in their right mind with minus $5,000 in her bank account was just scammed out of everything she worked hard for on yachts, right, for 5 years, is now stating that she's going to manage super yachts and travel the world and, do lifestyle management. They were like, sure, okay, whatever, right?
Yeah,
But I just had, I call it lady balls, to claim it. And I think what my magic was, is I actually saw it as a memory. I never saw it as a vision. Whenever I saw something that I wanted, I saw it as a memory and was so vivid that I was like, well, if I can see this, this must be meant for me. So
yeah,
there was this slight reassurance. And the other thing that I do truly believe I was really lucky is I wasn't understood, but I always knew because also I was so young, I had nothing to lose. Worst case, I would return home. I had no kids, I had no family depending on
yeah.
me. I was a free bird. So that's the time where you get to just do crazy. You know how many times I went from 30K in my bank account to $0 to
Yeah.
waiting for, you know what I mean? Like, but
Yeah,
it
you
didn't
had the
matter.
freedom to do that because you made sure that
Exactly.
you didn't have the pressures around you that would stop you following that dream.
Exactly. And I asked my sister for money when I was needed it for a plane ticket. But for me, what is really important, especially when it comes to other people, if people are telling you things and they don't live the life that you want, it
Mm,
does not matter.
not
And
at all.
that was my only rule. If it's someone who has the life that I want and they're giving me criticism or advice,
Yeah,
listen. If it's
yeah.
someone who I am actually running away from,
Mm,
absolutely not. Like, no, it doesn't even come into the ear. I'm
yeah,
like, nope.
I love that.
Refuse to acknowledge it.
Yeah, that is so true. I think it's Brené Brown who said it, don't worry about what people are saying in the cheap seats. Because, yeah,
Absolutely.
because the cheap seats are always going to criticize what the other people are doing. And
And they'll criticize you in the beginning when you
yeah,
don't have the proof. And then all of a sudden you get the thing. And then
yeah,
everybody's like, oh my God, congratulations. I was like, no, 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 no,
no,
I'm sorry.
no,
No.
no,
Congratulations was when I had the lady balls to
yeah,
actually go after it. That's the part.
exactly,
That's why
exactly,
we are where we are now.
exactly. And and that's amazing because I know again, having the balls, as you say, to do it can be hard for some people, and
Absolutely.
I'm a strong believer as well that things happen at the right time in your life because
Yes.
you know I know some people beat themselves up and they say things like, oh, I wish I'd done this years ago, or I wish I'd done this. And you talked about the different age groups and you could be working with somebody who's older or whatever, but I believe that it's happening at the time it should happen. Because
Yes.
especially, I think back at my life and people say to me, "Oh, I bet you wish you were doing, you started your business a lot earlier." And I say, no, I honestly, categorically do not think I should have started it earlier because I just wasn't ready.
Absolutely.
I was in that space where I was quite happy working for a company and just making money and having my bonuses and all of those
All
things.
of that. Yeah.
I had to get uncomfortable with that. And absolutely, you have to get uncomfortable with where you are. I'm having conversations with people who say, "Oh, I don't really know what I want to do. I'm not happy. I know I'm not happy. I'm not like really whatever." But I can tell they're not ready to make a change.
Yeah.
And if you're not ready to make a change, that there's no point in me having that conversation with you about how things could be different. I know you love the idea of thinking, oh well, it'd be nice to do something, but you're just not in the right place. And so again, if anyone who's listening to this podcast is, are you uncomfortable? How uncomfortable are you with where you are right now? And as long as you're uncomfortable with it, speaking to you, Sara, and, all of that thing about your journey has been about you being uncomfortable, you know?
Every damn day. Every damn
Exactly.
day. And that's honestly my second cheat code. Like I had a big business jump from October to December. So basically the month of November, it just went from, like I 10x my business.
Yeah.
And then I got comfortable, right? And I was
Yeah.
like focusing on strategy. I fell into that trap, right? Because we all
Yeah.
do, because now you're a successful business owner. And all of a sudden, my business was still on the same thing. And I was like, okay, so strategy is literally 5% of your business.
Yeah.
As soon as you get comfortable, and it doesn't mean you can't keep it there, you can easily keep it there. But
Yeah.
if that is not your level that you want, I immediately do something to push myself into the fire. That to me is claiming again, different things and different strokes for different folks. But to me, was claiming a ridiculous goal publicly because I knew that my identity is going to upgrade the next day because now I'm claiming it. I have this fake accountability because no one's actually being accountable, but it's my own game. And
Yeah.
the ideas the next day, the opportunities the next day, the mindset, the connections, like I'm telling you, as soon as you upgrade,
Yeah.
it's gonna drop in. And
Yeah.
as soon as I'm uncomfortable, I'm like, that's growth. This is
Yeah.
what you wanted. Now stick with it,
Yeah.
right? And it is really uncomfortable. That's why I was telling you before, I'm going through massive new leadership eras, but it's such a beautiful thing because I've been here so many times before that I know that this is the path to the next level.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. The energy in this chat is so good, but we're going
I
to have to
know, I
bring
love
things to
this.
a close. And I've got some quick fire questions for you. So we're not finished yet.
Amazing.
Let's go through my quick fire questions. So you can say there's a yes or no, or you can just give a little bit of context to it. But
Okay.
let's kick these off. Do you know what makes you truly happy?
Yes, my freedom. All my freedom above all.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
That's
Freedom and flexibility for me.
absolutely.
Yeah, just love it. And I love the variation of my life as well. I think there's so many little things that I love, when I think about how my life is. But yeah, freedom is such a big thing.
That has been my core
Yeah,
compass my whole life. Now looking back, is just freedom, freedom,
yeah,
freedom, freedom in a different aspect. Now
yeah.
I get to have all three.
Awesome. Awesome. How are you with getting still to feel emotion?
Used to struggle, now it's a priority.
What do you do for that?
More so, I wouldn't necessarily be still with the emotion. I would feel it.
Yeah,
And then when I feel it, whether that is cry, punch a pillow,
yeah,
scream, go work out, go for a walk, is feeling it and then being able to step out of it because now I've
yeah,
felt it, so we don't have to dwell in it,
yeah,
which is why I can switch so fast.
yeah,
But I think there's this emotional maturity where I can actually pause a feeling for the time that isn't right and then still feel it that evening, the
Yes.
next day, whatever that is.
Yeah. Because when I say this thing about being still, sometimes it's not physically still, you're just mentally still.
Absolutely.
You
Yes.
you can appreciate the feeling. So you're not just going head on first into something and not realizing, okay, that doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
And you felt it in that moment. And like you said, you can come back to it, you can deal with it, but you're not so caught up in life and all the things that you're doing that you can't feel that something feels right or it feels wrong. Because
Absolutely.
that's the biggest thing that gets us sort of like lost in going down a rabbit hole, living a life that we don't really want to live, is where we just forget to feel. We just
Yes.
absolutely forget to feel.
Absolutely.
Have you found your tribe?
That's a good question. I thought I did, and then I leveled up and I actually lost 95% of the people that I thought that were my tribe. So I am currently building a new one.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I love that. I love that. Some people answer this question by saying they've got different tribes, but actually what you've said is, yeah, you absolutely can find a tribe, but then when you start to level up, you can lose that tribe. And it's not so
Yeah.
much about losing the tribe, it's just that tribe doesn't serve you anymore. You need to find a
Just
tribe that
outgrow them.
fits the level that you're going
Yeah.
to.
It's and when you up level, the right type of people will come, but it
Yeah.
is very lonely sometimes
Yeah.
in the in between stages.
Yeah.
So it's very important that if you don't have the tribe in person, that you have a mentor, a friend or someone that is on the same level as you that you can talk to, and you don't necessarily always have to pay for that.
No,
It could just
no.
be
Somebody
a
who, yeah.
person. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally get that. I have a number of people that I can talk to, and I know that, have my back.
Hmm.
And I've got a very strong faith as well. So I pray every
That's
day,
really
and,
important.
I'm so thankful for, the highs, the lows, the lessons, but all of that. So that helps me with my everyday living as well. So, but yes, you're right. Finally, do you love yourself unconditionally?
Absolutely. I am obsessed with especially the baby Sara that got me here. And I continue to work on myself. That is why I can still continue to love myself unconditionally.
Yes, yeah, yeah. I'm glad you added that. We're always continually working on ourselves, but
Yeah,
we're a work in progress.
absolutely. Every year, every week, every month, like it is
Yeah,
consistent growth. And if I would stop, then I could have not said yes to that question
yeah,
because of how fast I grow and push myself. So
yeah,
there has to be work on the outside and on the inside always.
yeah.
Otherwise, it
All
just
the time. Yeah.
doesn't match.
Sarah, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you today. An absolute pleasure. I've loved every minute of it. Thank you so much for being a guest today. And you've inspired me, and hopefully, you've inspired my listeners as well, which I'm sure you have. If anybody wants to connect with you, I will be sharing your links with this podcast, but where's the best place to find you?
My like messages are I'm an open book. So you can
Yeah.
easily just come on Instagram. There's my whole stories there. All the resources are there. All the links are below, but you can just type in SARAVEZ coach. So Sara Vez coach.
Okay.
Find me and reach out, share your story. Like, don't be shy. I absolutely love this. And it's me in
Oh,
the DMs, not some random
yeah.
appointment setter or
Oh my
AI robot.
goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Sorry to interrupt, but I've just
No, it's
got
all
to
good.
say what I hate so much about those is that people actually say like a comment, they'll leave an actual comment about how they feel or their feelings and expressing it. And then this bot just answers, the link's going to be sent to you. And I'm
It is
thinking,
so bad.
what? What? That is awful.
Yeah,
This is what people are doing.
But with the
So,
era of AI, this is why like I have this strong, I use it as an assistant.
yeah.
Absolutely. Save yourself some time.
Oh, of
But the
course, yeah.
amount of brain power that people are using, like losing, because
Yeah,
giving this robot, this
yeah.
artificial thing, their thinking power, like, why do you think it's free? Like, nothing free that is
Right.
that good
Yes.
is
Yeah.
meant for the good of you. Like,
No.
just putting it
Yeah.
out there.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they're going to start charging, you're going to get dependent on it. And then all of a sudden, you're going to have to pay a ton of money every month.
Well, they
Just
have
like,
got paid versions. They're giving you so much for free anyway. So,
yeah,
and I mean, as you say, lots of things are out there to help us to make things easier. But I think if it takes away your personality and it takes away the personal, experience that you give, then that's where you've got to check yourself and think, well, is this right? What
absolutely.
you're offering. So anyway, I butted in then, and you said that people can actually just message you directly. Yeah.
Yes.
And,
Find me on Instagram. I will respond within hours and I would love
yeah.
to connect and not
Oh,
sell you
amazing.
on something, but actually help and direct you on the
Oh,
right path for whoever that is with.
yeah. Amazing. Well, thank you so much again,
Well,
Sarah. Thank you. And to everyone who's been listening, thank you for tuning in to this podcast. And I will be back next week with another amazing guest. But in the meantime, keep being the true you. Bye, everyone.